Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's little review. You're back to your regularly scheduled programming, hosted by yours truly, the one and only Papa Midnight 8 as always, or Mitchell, whichever you prefer. Joined, as ever, for the reviews by what I am now going to reword after last time because she got in a grunt with me. My always glamorous co-host and
Aw,
my amazing Beyonce,
you,
Amelia.
you
Why
bet.
don't you say hello?
Hello, but you better be serious about
Yeah,
so. And you're forgetting that our third little host and buddy is sleeping on the floor at the moment. He has his own little bed, so don't worry. We're not.
he's not on the floor. He's sleeping on his bed on the floor with a cat toy we got him that we thought he would hate, and now he has fallen in love with it and will snuggle it. Also, for a change, we are also joined by Stasipan Fluffington III, who is currently laying. He is laying on the floor. Stasi, of course, being the picture that represents my co-host here in the thumbnails. Stasi, why don't you say hello?
Are we doing an update on Silver?
Silver, if you don't know, he's been a bit unwell recently. He's had a bit of a sick tum and there's something wrong with his heart, with his eye. That's been a bit difficult to pinpoint what it is. He's fine. He's healthy. He's well as a nearly 18-year-old cat is. He's good. He's still grumpy. He's still cuddly. He's still demanding, but he's still here, and we love him to pieces, and that's what matters.
And again, if you're a cat lover, he has his Instagram at Silver the Kitty 80.
Yeah.
And if you go on any one of, if they go on your Instagram or my Instagram, we're following him, so
I think
you can
the
find
YouTube
him.
Instagram is also following him as well. I can't
Mm,
remember. May have to correct myself once we're done with this, but either way, you can find it in the Instagram description, which is Instagram following, which is linked in the
mhm.
description. So anyway, we'll get on with the movie. Of course, today we're looking at the film Nobody, currently sitting at number one on Netflix in the UK, I believe. Don't know about anywhere else because we're from the UK. If you couldn't guess, from the just slight accents that we have. We have the what most people say the British accent, even though in the UK there's more accents than chickens,
Yeah, probably.
probably. But anyway, of course, we're looking at Nobody, um, number one film on Netflix, yeah, but was released back in March 2021 in the US. I think June 2021 UK. So
I
we're a bit
remember,
behind.
I remember seeing the cinema. Kind of looked at it, and I didn't think I would ever watch it.
Yeah, I think I might have been interested, but of course, March 2021 was just about when the pandemic was beginning to wear off. Well, not wear off, but rules were starting to be relaxed. At least here, like the early 2021 is when cinema. I think that was there a lockdown around then. Either way,
Yes, I'm trying to think because I'm sitting here thinking like it's gonna be our 2 year anniversary next week, and I'm like, where are we dating in?
just no. We had just been dating when this film came out in the UK.
Mm,
So it came out in June. We got together in March,
mm,
April,
April,
obviously.
yeah.
March. I don't know why I always get March and April mixed up, but yeah, this film came out not long after we got together in the UK, at least,
Hmm.
because we got together April 27th. It's on the calendar behind me. I'm terrible. Yeah, I used to be telling you when we were when we got together, but here we are. So yeah, we just missed it, and I do, as I say, it was just after lockdown and all the pandemic rules beginning to wear off a bit. God, that feels weird saying that. So we just missed the release, but I remember seeing obviously as shown in the thumbnail. That's I try to use the movie poster for the thumbnail,
Mm,
but sometimes it's a bit awkward because of obviously the movie posters are vertical images, and I have to
yeah,
get ones that are horizontal because otherwise I'm cropping this fucking image.
I
It's
know.
awkward. YouTubers stupid. So yeah, we won't try and hide it. We're just jumping on the bandwagon of getting this out.
Hmm.
We always watch the films before we review it. There's been a few films that we watched for the first time ever. and then we would watch it straight away.
Is there anything you want to plug this week?
Yeah, usually we like to plug ones that haven't got as many views. But as always, I don't know why. As always, you can find the playlist on the channel.
Should I quickly just like? Should I quickly just?
Don't find one that you can quickly plug. But on the channel you can find our playlist that's full of all the reviews we've done. Oh my god. Sorry, I've just opened the channel up and that makes me sad how the King Kong video
Okay,
is like.
so we are gonna plug one this week, and I'm gonna choose what we're gonna plug.
Episode of the week that we're plugging will be
White Chicks, because you can hear us singing that about making my way downtown, walking fast,
yeah.
faces
White Chicks is easily one of my personal favourite reviews we've done so far. It's very silly, it's very funny. It's just silly. It's a good episode. It's just dumb. But they're all dumb. Like, we're just talking about the fucking channel. We need to be reviewing the film. Anyway, there's a few films that on there. This will be. I don't think this was released for Netflix because that wouldn't make sense. But I think it's just a film on there, so it won't be our second Netflix movie. It's the second movie that's on Netflix. No, it isn't because White Chicks is on there because we watched it on there. Anyway, movie. That's what the video's about.
Yeah, but the White Chicks, because Netflix will get the rights to like stream film. Sorry, but they weren't they weren't actually made by Netflix. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say.
They've got the rights to basically present the film.
If anyone from Netflix is watching, could you put the MTV screen back on, please? Thank you.
Nah, they probably won't. They don't care. They probably lost the rights to that. Anyway, movie. Back to reviewing that. Let's get on with the actual video because it's probably been long enough. Like it's probably been a good 10 minutes of us talking not about the film. So, spoilers ahead. I forgot to mention that for the last couple of reviews we've been doing. Amelia will be snacking during the filming. Stasi has decided to come on the bed and have a sniff. Spoiler warning now. As we say, it's on Netflix, so realistically, you can just go watch it. But it's silly. It's a good film, but just go watch it. Like we say this with all of them, but just go away. You can watch it, and then come back, watch our video.
Do you guys want to know this thing? Is that I bought 2 cupcakes, and when you get in, girls, consider marriage before this, right? But if you end up getting in a relationship, you are going to have to share your cupcakes, because I'm having to share my cupcakes.
You fucking told me I could have one. Don't be like, I have to share them.
After he looked at me because he couldn't find anything in the shop.
I found something, don't worry. I'm gonna be decent and not eat during the recording because we've just had dinner. I cooked.
Alright.
Now you're like, I can't have my muffin.
It's pudding, actually.
Right, anyway, enough bickering. Let's get on with the film before this becomes an hour of you being an arsehole.
I'll give you some air.
I'd rather you didn't. Anyway, so the movie is directed by Ilya Naishuller and written by Derek Kolstad. I'm unfamiliar with these guys, but they did Nobody that came out in 2021. There you go. That's what I know them for. Went into the fact it's currently the #1 film on Netflix, but released in March 2021. It is now the 21st of the 4th, 2023, so we are like 2 years and a month behind. For the Americans, anyway, or we are just under 2 years for the UK. So, the movie begins with Hutch Mansell, I think his name is. Played by Bob Odenkirk, Saul Goodman himself from Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. He's basically in cuffs and he's covered in blood. And he opens a can of tuna to feed a cat that's hidden in his coat.
Oh my god, that cat was so cute.
The cat is very cute. It's this little grey kitten. I don't know the breed because I'm not a cat man.
It was kind of a like a
It's
fluffy
fluffy.
kitten. I wouldn't say Mancoon, but I think that's some sort of
It's probably the same breed that whatever Starsy is, but grey. He's looking at us now. He's not happy that Amelia has just eaten some chocolate muffins and not shared it with him.
Chucky kill you.
But anyway, he just pulls a can of tuna out and it's like, what? And then the cat just emerges from his coat. He's basically in an interrogation room, and we will get back to that right at the end of this video. Because
Yeah,
the movie
you
comes full circle. It's one of the films where it's like the movie begins with how it
That's
ends.
how Triangle went because they show you the ending and then
In a
went
way, it was
back
Triangle
and
because it was
then
how you can catch our review of Triangle on the channel. There you go. There's a plug for you. Get used to it. That's how these episodes usually go. But yeah, because that was a time loop. Obviously, you basically get to see how the movie will turn out,
Mm.
and it does. It's a good film. It's one of the best ones. But I think it's like second from bottom.
Yeah, go and show that
We'll
somewhere.
plug that one. Forget White Chicks. That's done good.
Mm.
Go watch Triangle. Anyway, so after the opening credits, we are shown a few weeks of his life of work and family because he's just well. It's there to set up that he's a family man, but he's cooking, he's had breakfast, he's going to work, he's exercising early in the mornings. He weirdly keeps forgetting to put the garbage out. He does that every time. It's very weird. It just shows us a bit of his normal life before everything goes tits up, as you would know, and you will find out. So one night he awakens to some intruders in his home. He grabs a golf club and attempts to call the cops, but is caught and held at gunpoint. The gun is empty. We find out later these guys are desperate. They're not just like it is like a couple, I think.
They had a baby who had oxygen
Yeah, they have a sick
mask.
baby. They aren't really characters in this film. They do sort of set off the plot in a way.
Mm.
But we'll get back into that later because we'll catch up with them. His son Blake, who is played by Gage Monroe. I've heard his name a lot, and I swear I've seen him in a few things. All I can think of is the Tales of the Walking Dead. I think he's in one of them. I think it's the one who has the guy from The Boys in it. I think. Oh, I can't remember, but it's a name and a face I see a lot. Okay, well, nobody obviously. Nope, nothing that I care about movie wise. He's like a voice actor. He's in quite a lot of animated stuff. Obviously, Tales of the Walking Dead, Paw Patrol, apparently. Hotel Transylvania, the series. God, what the fuck is going on? Anyway, enough about him. We'll move on. He basically just jumps from like the stairs onto one of them. Hutch basically tells them to let him go, and the intruders take some money out of like a fruit bowl,
And
and they don't take the little girl's
Oh,
bracelet.
okay.
Remember, but they just take a few dollars and they run. Basically, the police come not too long after. They basically take the piss out of him. They're very degrading towards Hutch at the beginning of the film, but well, everyone is at the start, and then once they realise like what he's all about,
Mm.
it's a bit more understandable. So after the police leave, Hutch and his wife Becca, played by Connie Nielsen, struggle to sleep until Hutch basically gets up to go sleep on the couch. His daughter comes to lay with him, and honestly, I could not. They didn't mention her name. I couldn't find her on the cast list, so I do apologise. Basically comes to lay with him and says they need to get a cat, which of course comes back to the end where he gets his little kitty cat. So the following morning, Hutch is making breakfast. His son, who got decked by one of the burglars and got given a black eye, basically just makes fun of him for being a coward and clearly doesn't like him for it. His wife, his wife, sort of gives the impression off that their relationship is very strained. And it is because a lot of the plot later on, well, not a lot, a little bit of the plot later on mentions that they've not been doing great. Um, but his daughter is still she loves him to pieces. She's a proper little daddy's girl. So outside, they meet their neighbor who's inherited a car from his late father. I think his name is Jim. He's credited as Jim, I think. Again, nobody hurt. Nobody says his name in the film. But as I say, I think his name is Jim. He's not an important character. I think he is played by. I've lost it now. Can't find him. Paul. God, Essimbre. I do apologise if I just butchered that. Anyway, so he inherited this Dodge Charger. It's a really nice muscle car. He basically shows it off and make a big flex. Um, he does not give a shit that his dad has just died. He really doesn't care. He's just happy that he's got this nice fucking muscle car. It's very clear. I said to you when we were watching it, I said it's so obvious that he is just saying that the car is just in the film for the sake of later being used. And of course later on it does end up being used because, as I said to you, why would they spend the money to get that car in for a scene where it's just going to be shown off for a minute with this nothing character and then that's it. So at work, Hutch is ridiculed for his actions the previous night by a colleague. Charlie, played by Billy McClellan, gives him a gun. It's very weird because he points the gun at him and then he gives it to him. It was very strange. He's also his brother-in-law in a quick passing line, which is just a bit weird because that character's barely seen. He comes back a bit later, but that's it. After going to his office, he retrieves a flask of alcohol and listens to someone on the other end of a radio playing music. I think it's like a CV radio. I don't know what you want to call it. They talk about the break-in. He clearly knows who this person is, and we find out later. He recalls the break-in in detail, including the fact the gun was empty. He really meticulously describes everything. It's not like he's just been like, "Oh, they broke in. My son attacked one. One was a woman, one was a man." It hints towards the whole there's something else with this guy, and the mystery voice on the other end.
I can't remember when I said to you about how I thought he was sort of FBI agent or something.
You said he was some sort of agent. You didn't really specify, but you did say about it. Hutch then heads to a care home to meet his father, David, played by Christopher Lloyd, Big Boy Doc Brown, most recently in The Mandalorian. Not spoilers for this season because it was spoken about for ages when he was first cast. It was like Christopher Lloyd will be in this season. Then he's in one episode and that's it. Alongside, okay, spoilers for The Mandalorian season 3, Jack Black and fucking Lizzo. A photo is on the mantelpiece of the two of them, but younger, alongside an unknown boy who is later revealed to be the man on the radio and his brother Harry. He is played by a rapper I've never heard of called RZA. That's it. I don't know what else to give you. At home, his daughter says she lost a bracelet which she kept in the fruit bowl that contained the money the robbers stole. So he's basically that's enough for him to go after the burglars. Is the fact that a bracelet got stolen from his daughter. Hutch then goes back to the retirement home to recover a revolver and an FBI badge. Only one I read after is his dad's, Christopher Lloyd's FBI badge, which is why the guys later on are like, that's not even you. Because then I was like, oh, he's an FBI agent then. That would explain why he's so like he has the radio and he's all secretive and shit. But technically, I'm not wrong. But technically, I still am. Hutch returns to... Yeah, I've read that already. His dad, who was asleep, is suddenly awake and has a coffee brewed already. And he's just like right next to him. He basically just says, if you've got to do it, go do it. He does not give
No
a shit.
questions asked.
Yeah, he's just like, if you've got something that needs solving, go fucking solve it. He then tracks down the tattoo artist who gave the tattoo to the female intruder, because there is a brief scene where it shows this little, pretty shitty tattoo that this woman has. It's clearly like a pen drawn one. It's not very detailed because he literally draws it at work. Ba, 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 ba. A veteran at the store points out the flaws in the badge, and the store owner's goons stand to confront him. But the veteran points out the army tattoo before deciding to just get the fuck out of there. Uh, Basically, he does. That's enough for the store owner to like give in and give him the information, because it's like you don't want to fuck with a marine. Um, Managing to find the intruder's home, he makes his way indoors and ambushes them. Holding the two at gunpoint, he manages to recover his watch, but the noise. He basically just tackles the male intruder to the ground, like pulling him off the chair. Excuse me, fucking hell. Well, usually I'm yawning, so it's good that I'm not. We're filming this at an okay time, but here we are. The noise awakens the baby, and he goes to see what the noise was, and that's enough for him to just be like, yeah, I'm getting out of here, this is wrong. So on the bus home, because he gets the bus for some reason, because he doesn't drive. I mean, it's for plot reasons, but I don't know. I can't drive, neither can you. Neither can Stasi, neither can Silver.
Well, realistically, medically, I'm not allowed, so I would like to.
Medically, no, for you. Me, money. Cost of living crisis. Anyway, an SUV crashes next to him and the bus stops. I don't know why, because the driver doesn't exactly get out to help them. A group of drunkards, mainly and importantly, a couple of them are Russians, but most of them are just Americans. Uh, the driver reluctantly opens the door, much to Hutch's joy, because he's sat right at the back and he's just being like, "Go on, do it, open the door, open the door." The group harass a woman and as well as another guy I didn't put down, but the guy just fucks off. As Hutch helps the driver off the bus sorry, before closing the doors and locking them so they can't get out. No, he doesn't lock it; he just closes them. The goons laugh as Hutch threatens that yeah, I'll call all these guys goons. That'll be like half of what they are. The goons laugh as Hutch threatens them and empties his gun because he has a revolver, so he can just be like, cool, cool action man action move of emptying your whole revolver so you can kick the shit out of them. He does kick the shit out of all of them quite badly, but and then ends up pulling a knife that he was stabbed with out of himself, and he uses it to. He doesn't kill them. Importantly, he doesn't kill them. He stabs a lot of them and slashes a lot of them, but he doesn't kill them. He then wraps. This bit is brilliant and I love it. He wraps the like emergency cord around one of their necks, and that just then keeps dinging the bus stopping light. It just goes ding 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 ding. Oh, it's brilliant. That one was funny. He is, however, thrown out of the bus, and then he just gets back on. Like they all take a rest, be like, "Good, we've dealt with him," and then he just gets back on. It's like, oh god. So he uses the knife as well as the woman's handbag to badly wound them. A goon, an important goon, I should say, because it ends up being the main bad guy's little brother, grabs the gun, but Hutch uses. He basically uses a bit of metal that's on the bus, like a handle if you stood up, like a big bit of pipe, almost like pipe. Just hits him in the fucking windpipe with it, but then saves his life by opening his windpipe with a knife and a straw. I do apologise, I can't remember what they're called, but they actually do that. That is a medical operation. Obviously not with a knife and a straw, but
Yeah, I think I've seen that like on. Oh, there's a program on. I think that's 911 Lone Star or something like that.
something like that.
Where in the first episode they did something like that.
I'll just have a look. Okay, that's.
So I have seen
I think it's
it.
called a tracheotomy. Let me just fact check that. Don't don't hold me against that. There's an opening surgically created through the neck into the windpipe to allow air to fill the lungs. Yeah, there you go. Yay, I am a clever person. I do know my scientific fact. I didn't Google it or anything. Totally not. Uh, so at home, his wife is still awake. He apologizes for being distant and heading to bed, saying he remembers who they used to be. When he said that, I thought that his wife was also whatever he is, because he's like, "Do you remember who we used to be?" And then he goes, "I do," and then he goes to bed.
Yeah.
I thought, was she? What did they just come out of a life of like being hitmen? Well, hitman and woman, but no, she's just normal. In the next scene, we get to meet Yulian. I do apologize. This is a Russian name that I'm going to butcher. Uh, his name is Alexei Serebryakov. He enters a nightclub he owns and stands on the stage dancing next to a singer and sings with her. It's weird because in this scene he sings really badly, which
Yeah,
you
that
pointed
was
out.
really terrible.
But then later on, he sings really well. It's very weird. In Russian, in Russian, importantly, because like the subtitles went automatic. So after this scene, for the rest of the film, we had to have subtitles on because it was a pain. He discusses with some associates about a black member of their crew who is also his right hand man. His name is Pavel. He is played by Araya Mengesha, but Julian assures them, I should say, that his skin color does not affect his skills because his like associates are a bit racist to begin with. Anyway, uh, basically the associates call him weak and like calls Julian weak and unsure if he's able to protect their like money laundering business. However, he breaks a cocktail glass and just rams it into this random fucking
Yes.
guy who gave him evils earlier. Like, you know what a cocktail? I think it's a martini glass. So it's
Yeah, that
round and it's
was.
jagged. Puts it in his face, drags it down his face, and scratches the shit out of it. It's brutal. And then slashes his throat with it afterwards for good measure. At least he didn't have to suffer. One of the Russians basically saves a shareholder in that group, and then celebrate his death because now they get his 3%. I think it was. Yulian then receives a phone call about the man who was almost killed on the bus. The man, of course, being Yulian's little brother, even though Yulian's like at least in his 50s and this guy's like 30s ish.
Mm.
And he is concerned about his health, and Pavel says that he is, quote, fucked from the subtitles. So he heads down the corridor to the ward where the other goons are recovering and interrogates one. He literally picks a chair up from like the waiting area. This big like metal fucking like not even an armchair, but like you know what a hospital fucking waiting room chair is like.
That was kind of impressive how aggressive he
Well, he fucking threw it at him to begin with. He fucking lobbed it and then just repeatedly beat him with it. Another pipes in and says he's correct, and then a third one raises his arm after Julian being like, how am I gonna find out who this is?" And then one of them raises their hand, and they have the Metro card in their hand because he's been getting a bus and shit. Hutch receives a call from his brother, who praises him for his actions and tells him who he was messing with. However, his brother texts him, insisting he sees someone known as the Barber. And at the Barbers, we get to meet a man who I don't think his name is given again in the film, but his name is Banyan, played by Colin Salmon. Yep, Salmon is his actual last name.
Oh my god.
Who is protected by guards. He gives the intel on Julian to Hutch, and one of his people managed to track him down. Sorry, I just lost it. Sorry. I pressed fucking. It's because when I'm talking, I'm tapping the fucking computer, and then I accidentally catch the fucking page down button. One of his people basically managed to track him down using his Metro card, but Julian isn't scared of him. because he just looks like a normal dude. The goon then blackmails a Pentagon employee into giving over info on him, but fails to when his access is denied. He's she like sends him this fucking picture of him in like a gimp suit. It's the most pointless shit, but it's just like, okay, yeah, fair enough. The employee then heads to get information on him from the archives, so he has to basically go down into the basement and get the like paper copies, essentially. Uh, he then sends it over to the woman working for Julian, who then gives it to Julian and then quits because she's like, yeah, fuck that, I don't want to get involved. While Hutch's family's having dinner, a bunch of SUVs roll up because they're bad and they have to drive big black SUVs because you can't have villains if they've not got big scary Fords, whatever the fuck they are. So he notices them outside, Hutch notices them outside the window, and he ushers his family into the basement to protect them and locks them in there to deal with them. So you're gonna have to bear with me for this next part. Um, I did try and count the deaths in this film, but it's not very easy. But I just wanted to get them down so I knew which person specifically died in a certain way. He locks his house down and ambushes. So here we go. Bludgeons one with a baseball bat, breaks the bat in half and stabs another one. He then stabs a third one multiple times with a knife, shoots a fourth and a fifth. A sixth is then burned with scalding water to the face, and then I thought that he just beat him to death with it, but there is a shot of him later with it impaled into the back of his skull. Excuse me, with a kettle. The seventh is shot. The eighth is like resting. Well, he's being pushed against like a chest of drawers, or whatever you'd call it in America. I can't remember.
Mm.
I don't care. I don't care.
I can't remember.
But he's like being held with his legs, and Hutch basically kicks him in the face, breaking his neck against it. Sorry. Da, 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 da. Pavel basically ends up tasing him unconscious, and he is captured by. Well, it's captured by him. Simple. So two of those people who got fucking. I don't know what you want to call that, wrecked. They got fucked. They got fucked by them. So two of them survive and go with Pavel, who has Hutch hostage in the boot, the trunk, whatever you want to call it. It's the boot. It's your boot. It's your boot. Hutch frees himself from his cuffs and uses an extinguisher in the back to break out and crash the car, fatally wounding Pavel and apparently killing the two surviving goons. Hutch then finds him, who's impaled with a piece of metal, and speaks to him, giving backstory of how he killed people for the three-letter agencies who they couldn't arrest. So obviously CIA, FBI, whatever, like how you thought, but he wasn't an agent per se. She is currently just looking at the TK Maxx website instead of being an active member of this video.
No,
Just
I'm
like,
fine,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you've got your note. There's not
I'm
really
doing
much,
well, thanks.
much for me to say, is there?
Well, if you watch the other episode, you realise that she's like that in the other ones too.
No, I'm not. Shut up.
While basically giving his exposition dump, Pavel dies, which is fair because he does get basically split in half. Hutch then runs home and rings his dad, explaining what happened and warning him. At home, he showers and releases his family, who are understandably terrified by the mass murder. He sends his family away and promises to explain things later. Puts on some music and speaks to the dead bodies and one guy who is somehow still alive. In a flashback, we see him about to execute a man who seemed remorseful for what he did, or whatever he did. But a year later, Hutch found him living a quiet, peaceful life, which made him jealous, and he retired from basically being an assassin. In the present, the last thug is dead, because, you know, they're not going to stick around forever, they're going to fucking die. Especially after what he did to him. And he finds the missing bracelet his daughter was missing. Well, it was just like on the sofa, or like in front of the sofa. Ultimately, he ends up burning the house down in order to cover it all up before leaving. But on the way out, as mentioned earlier, he steals his neighbour's car because he has to have the cool car. So more of Julian's crew arrive at David's care home. I'll specifically say two of them do. They are fucking useless, but it gives Christopher Lloyd more fun. He had a fucking great time with this film. He was loving it. So two of his goons end up at the care home. I've lost where I am. But he ambushes them with a sawed-off shotgun. He just it's not very nice.
Mm.
He basically just blows a hole in both of them. It's a fucking sawed-off at close range. What do you expect? But the nurse on duty arrives and just blames the fucking TV on the noise. Like, fucking hell. Like, he's just killed two fucking grown men. Hutch then offers to buy his workplace. Well, I think this is the next day. He offers to buy his workplace off his boss and Charlie using gold he stashed. Julian hears about Pavel and the others' deaths from the news. Hutch uses his newly acquired building to manufacture traps and turn it into a fortress. As I said to you, it's like Home Alone.
Yeah.
He fucking... It's Home Alone, but realistically what would end up happening. Hutch takes the... hang on. Nope, yep. He takes the offensive by attacking his cash business, gunning down and blowing up, from my count, at least 24 people. Because I kept pausing it and rewinding it so we could see who was dead. And then he burns it down, but he puts fuel in the sprinkler system, which is cool, because then obviously you can just pull the fucking switch and then the entire place is covered in petrol. I'm not calling it gas. Gas is a type of, well, you got liquids, you got solids, and you got gases. And gas is a fucking liquid based off of petroleum, hence the name petrol. Anyway, she's now just looking at Facebook at whatever the fuck that was.
Stop commenting on what I'm doing.
Fucking put some input in then.
I don't know what to say about the film because it's not, that it's not something that I would have watched on my own. But I am impressed by the old man getting up and shooting.
So as usual, Julian is singing. This is what's so it's in the film. It's playing at the same time, but the Julian's singing really well, unlike earlier. After he's just burned that building down, Hutch is watching from the crowd, but he is then quickly surrounded by Julian and his cronies. Hutch reveals a claymore tied to his fingers. It's like it's just a bit of string attached to the claymore, so if he just went like that, it'd just go kaboom. He basically demands that Julian speaks to him alone. Julian accepts and sits down with him, and Hutch reveals he burned down his business in retaliation for him attacking his family. Julian, understandably, not very pleased with that fact. He also reveals that the guy, his brother, has died. I don't. Okay, okay. I don't get why, but I mean, he did just have his windpipe crushed. But he had a straw.
Mm.
He had a straw in his throat.
That was convenient.
Hutch proposes to them that they both retire from it all before leaving, still carrying the claymore in order to not just be jumped. But that will come back. Claymore comes back in glorious fashion. Julian then emerges from the club after Hutch gets into his new car and orders his men to pursue them, and obviously he joins them because this is Act 3, and this is where the bad guy needs to go after the main character. Hutch leads them back to his base, but is shot and wounded, which I put that down like that's an important fact, but he basically shrugs off a gunshot wound to the shoulder. Harry is in the factory, again played by the rapper whose name I've already forgot, RZA or something. Don't know why I mentioned that, but because it was just mainly his voice for most of the film, so it was weird. It'd be weird if it was an actor I knew, and then I could be like, "Oh yeah, of course it is." No. His dad then emerges with a bunch of shot. Well, he has a shotgun, not his sword off. He does have the sword off with him, but it's not what he emerges with. His dad emerges and helps him. Hutch and his dad hold off the goons till a press, yeah, like a hydraulic press, like slowly crushes a grenade till it
Oh, I
explodes,
see.
killing multiple and basically knocking Julian off his feet. It's like them weird fucking YouTube videos that are around where they were like crushing. I don't know.
Yeah, I know
They're
that.
just the most random shit for content, and they somehow got like millions of views. Morgans then head upstairs, and step on a trigger, detonating. I want to call it a mine, but it was very weird. It just
Mm.
blows up more of them. Um, Harry then personally kills multiple of them, slinging one out of a fucking window. Like it's on like a pulley, and it just yanks him out. Hutch ignites some shotgun shells attached to the wall. It's basically like the fucking drill charge from Modern Warfare 2. You have no idea what that is. For some context, it's a grenade with a drill on the end that drills through the wall and then explodes.
Oh.
Just press the page sound button, don't I? He then launches rebar, like these like twisted metal pipes at these fucking dudes, just impaling them. Um, David Christopher Lloyd, obviously, is just, as I said earlier, having a fucking great time with this film. He is loving it.
Mm.
He's fucking having so much fun. The three stand together, killing many more of these fuckfaces. As Julian emerges, shooting and wounding Harry. Again, pointless. Julian shoots at them, but they're all out of ammo because, of course, when the bad guys show up, they've got to find a creative way to kill them. Excuse me. Because if they just go dead, bit anticlimactic, isn't it? But the fact they're all out of bullets at the same time. I've lost where I am. Well, I looked at you to talk to you. You're like my surrogate audience because I can't see them.
Oh.
Hutch then tapes the claymore to a piece of reinforced glass and rushes him with it. It's basically like putting a Semtex on a riot shield in COD. It's great. It does. It does, of course, kill him. There's a claymore to the face is gonna fucking hurt, and it brutally kills him. It is gnarly. He looks awful. Hutch, David, and Harry all regroup, and he sends his dad and brother away as the police arrive. He uses a phone to call his wife, who doesn't answer, and leaves a voicemail, basically. Like, after this,
I love you.
I love you. He's disturbed by a cat, who he takes with him, of course, the cat for the intro, and also grabs a convenient tin of tuna on the way out. In the voicemail, he wishes things could have been different, and then we arrive at how the movie began. So back to the interrogation room. The officers who are interrogating him receive simultaneous phone calls. Fuck's sake. Presumably telling them to let him go because then he's free to go.
Bless you.
Oh, excuse me, that's a first for the show. Sneeze mid-episode. Sometime later, he and his family are touring new homes. The agent receives a phone call for Hutch, and they ask the agent if it has a basement before the movie ends. But in a post-credit scene, David and Harry are in an RV discussing going elsewhere with a shit ton of guns. And that's what I wish would be the sequel when the sequel actually comes. So, movie over. We're done. So, because it's an action movie, at last we're doing something where I can finally give the award out again. Best kill easily goes to Julian, just because of the gnarly effects on his face from being close quartered by fucking Claymore. Worst kill, once again, easily can go to any of the goons that were dead in the like cash business that I had to pause the movie to count. There's like 10 of them, I think, and they're just dead bodies who have clearly just been shot. So, our ratings. I'll pass it over to my co-host.
You want me to?
Mhm.
5.
You said to me as we were cooking tea that you really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I
You're
didn't
like, yeah, I
hate.
really enjoyed it,
I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. It's not something that I would watch again.
but a 5.
Yeah.
A 5 is something you'd give if you didn't like it very much, but it wasn't the worst thing you've ever seen. Saying you liked it would easily put it up more.
Well, I'm not giving anything above a 5.
She doesn't know how rating stuff out of 10 works, unfortunately.
Shut up!
I'll give it a nice, healthy, like 7.5, I think.
Freedom of speech.
Shut up. We're not going into that. That's not what this channel is about. So yeah, there you go. There were some shots I really enjoyed, particularly when he was just setting shit on fire. I think the acting was really good. I mean, I do love Bob Odenkirk. Even some of the like side characters did well. Even as we know from fucking Megan, I hate kid actors. Surprisingly, the little girl was still passable, I'll say. So yeah, genuinely really good film. We did like it. Apparently someone didn't like it enough to bring it more than the 5. Okay,
What's your problem?
I just don't get it. I just don't get how
What
you
do you
can.
mean?
5 is such a
You've
weird
got
number.
10, yeah?
I haven't given it a 10.
No, but you can go up to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because of the fact that I wouldn't buy it on DVD, it's one of those
You
films
heard it
that
here
I would.
first, folks. The usual way of rating this down. I wouldn't buy it on DVD.
I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it again unless it was on telly at 3 in the morning and I was sleeping
What? And you were so
downstairs.
lazy you couldn't be asked to turn the TV over.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah, so because of it, all that, that's why I'm giving it a 5.
But fine.
Could have been worse. I could have gave it a 2.
Yeah, true. Well, I think Santa Sleigh is easily still at the bottom of our list. I think it's the bottom of the. Not only is it the least viewed review, don't watch it, please. Like, it passed one that we actually liked and it
Stop
scared us.
plugging it.
I don't mean to. It's a funny episode, but it's time to stop. So yeah, as I say, it's Amelia's turn next week. I'm scared of what's to come. Actually, she's not picked shit ones so far. At least there's that. We've got a few. We'll probably renew Netflix as well, so we can do a couple more off of there. So, of course, I've been your glamorous host, Papa Midnight 8, Mitchell, whatever you prefer. And this one here,
Is
my glamorous assistant.
the Obsidian Nook Petal ASMR Fallen Petals 1111 Instagram. Silver the Kitty 18 for Silver.
God, I didn't plug all my shit on Instagram, did I? Anyway, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. This will be releasing a day early because, as we said at the beginning, we want to jump in on the bandwagon. So we'll be releasing the Saturday instead of the Sunday. So yeah, thank you for listening. We'll catch you in the next one.